Well, thanks for jumping in. Good to see you all. My name is Nathan Wells, and we're going to be jumping in just a minute. We're going to give folks another minute or so, 30 seconds here to jump in. This session will be recorded, so you can come back to it, share it with colleagues, or however is most useful for you, and hopefully get you excited and prepared for doing the hour of code, whether it's next week or this week or whenever you're going to have a chance to do that. I'll do a quick introduction, and then we're going to jump into Generation AI, Microsoft or Minecraft rather, education's hour of code for this school year, which is really exciting. So my name is Nathan Wells. Thanks for joining me this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are. I'm based in Phoenix, Arizona currently, and I work for I2E as a Senior Manager of Customer Engagement. I work with all of our trainings around the United States and beyond, and I'm excited to talk today specifically about one of the main things I get to work in, which is game-based learning, which is really fun. We do a lot of Minecraft education, both trainings, custom lesson development. We even build custom worlds for schools and for organizations, which is an amazing thing I get to be a part of. There's a new one we're working on right now. There's some cool lessons being developed that'll be coming out this spring, which hopefully you will all be able to use in your classroom, which is really fun. And we have people joining from around the world, so that's awesome. Thanks for being with us all the way from Vietnam. If you work in Twitter, now X, or on LinkedIn, these are some ways you can stay connected with me. I'm at EdTechWells, or I2E Edu is our company where we post exciting updates, things that we're doing. Playcraft Learn, or Microsoft Education, is where you'll see some other great updates like the one about this new hour of code world. Minecraft Education, which is at Playcraft Learn on X, they posted on there when the new world is going to be live and some things like that. So it's a great way to stay connected and find out when new things are going on and what they're doing. So today, our purpose is to get you ready. And so I want to first point out what you have available to work with your students, or maybe you're leading some faculty or some staff and how they can use the Minecraft Hour of Code world in their classrooms. And these are some of the resources that are provided for you. And I'll put some links in the chat here in a moment, so it'll be easy to get through some of this stuff, and then we're going to talk through some of it. So if you don't have Minecraft, obviously you need to get Minecraft. Education specifically is what this one is tied to. There is a commercial version of Minecraft, and the one we're talking about today is the Education Edition. So if you go to aka.ms/download, you can find the Education Edition for your type of device. And hopefully you can work with an IT specialist or whoever it is in your school or system to get the right one. We're going to talk about the lesson plans. We're going to talk about the actual world itself. We're going to jump in and play a little bit and see how that works. There is a video overview and a solution guide and some really great things to help you get going. My biggest thing today is I want to connect and answer questions. So as we're going through this, use the chat. Let me know what you're looking for, what you've maybe tried in the past. And to that end, I want to start us off with a quick little poll on what have you tried before. Have you done any Minecraft lessons in the past? And so it's just a quick yes, no. Have you done any Minecraft lessons in the past? I'm going to send that to the chat. You'll see that coming in the poll here in just a second. And then as that comes through, you'll be able to respond, and we'll be able to see together how many of you have tried it before. Have you done anything in Minecraft, any type of lesson in Minecraft education before? It just gives us a quick pulse to see how many of you are totally brand new to Minecraft education and how many of you have tried it. Awesome. Thank you to those that have responded. Most of you have done something, some type of Minecraft lesson in the past. We have a few that have not done it before. So that's awesome. Thanks for joining in and learning more. So I'm just going to give that poll just another couple seconds here, see how many more folks have tried a lesson before. You should see that poll pop up right in the dead center of your screen. If you X'd out, you should be able to respond in the chat as well. Awesome. Well, thanks for participating in that chat. That just helps me know a little bit more about what you all have done and what you might need help with. So that's great. So this is a presentation that you have access to, and I will show you where on the Minecraft Education website as we get going here. And it's great that it has some basic slides that you can be using with your class, and again, or it could be with staff as well. And it has some great pieces built in to help you kind of guide your students through talking about this big topic that is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is everywhere around us. We can do a whole session on this. I'm actually going to be doing another one of these quick sessions in 2 weeks, specifically around AI in education. And you can find more information about that by following me on socials or on i2e and find out when our next session is. But to guide you through this with your students, excuse me, there is a great little kind of walkthrough to help you talk about this when you're doing this lesson with your class. So you're not going to just jump into the Minecraft world, right? We want our students to think through it and get going first. I will get you a lesson link to jump onto the website in just a moment. I'll help you get there. And then we're going to get into and talk specifically in the lessons that we're looking at of responsible AI. So there's this big question of what is AI? What are the different types of AI? And then specifically for these lessons, talking about what does it mean to be responsible AI and how can we help with that? Excuse me. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to actually just share my screen. Should be able to see my entire screen here. And I'm already in the game. And when you first enter the game, you will be prompted to go through a tutorial. So let's talk about that first. In your presentation that you get on the website, there are some basic slides that help you kind of walk your students through this. And what's great about that is it gives you some basic screenshots so that you can be walking either around the room if you have kids with you, or you can be kind of referencing these different screenshots and sections on the slides as you're going. And so what I want to point out is a couple of things. When students first enter the game, and I would recommend you go through it yourself first, it really doesn't take that long to go through it, is they'll be asked to go through a tutorial, kind of forced. And then the first question is, are you using a keyboard and mouse, or are you using a touch screen? So like an iPad or some type of tablet type device, even a mobile device. And for you to be going through the correct tutorial, you would choose that. And you can see that that's a screenshot here in the dead center of my presentation. And then it asks you if you want to go through this. I would highly recommend going through the tutorial, especially for those that are new or new to that type of device, right? It just helps get everybody level set so they know what they're doing. What I also really appreciate and wanted to point out about having these slide screenshots on the slides is it helps you reference something, especially if kids are new to what they're doing here and you want to keep track. So you notice there's a number one. This isn't in the original slide deck, but I wanted to show you something really quick. If you go to Insert and go to Icons, you can actually, and I'm just in regular desktop PowerPoint, and I type in numbers, you see it pops up numbers here, and I can say I want a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then Insert. And now I can quickly grab numbers and number these pictures really quickly. And I found this to be really helpful when I was working with kids to say, okay, tell me where you're at on the screen. And it's just a quick way to get them to reference where they're at, and you can quickly look around the room and make sure everybody's gone through each pieces of the tutorial all the way through the next slide, 5, 6, 7, 8. And again, I would recommend going through it yourself as well. So you can, if your kid says, I can't get past the gold block, you're like, I don't know what the gold block is. Well, if you've gone through the tutorial, you'll see where the gold block is, and they need to right click on the little robot, the NPC, before they can move forward. All right, so that's the tutorial. I don't want to spend a lot of time on the tutorial, but just know it's great. Excuse me, it helps with moving, it helps with placing, and it helps with breaking. And so it helps them get those basic fundamentals of using Minecraft education. So for those of you that said in the survey you're brand new to it, I would recommend you go through it first as well. Then we get into our first tutorial. So before we do that, let's look at our website. So this is the new 2023 Hour of Code webpage, and I'm going to put that in the chat right now to help you all get to there as well. And on this webpage, it has a nice, fun little intro video. There's a great blog about it. And this is, again, if you're looking at my screen, where you can quickly get to download it if you haven't before. And the difference between download and free demo is if you've not if your school or system does not have licensing currently through Microsoft, as like an A3 or A5 license, or you haven't individually purchased licenses for Minecraft Education, you can use the free demo, which is awesome. You can get all your kids to go through this lesson, and you don't even have to have a license if you don't already in your system. So that's where you can get that. And then step 2 is where we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on the lesson page now. That is a great question, Jennifer. Jennifer asked a question about immersive reader, and I'm going to show that in a moment. Any dialog box that pops up in Minecraft Education, you can have read to students through a tool called Immersive Reader. So yes, thank you for asking that, Jennifer, and I will demonstrate that as well in a moment. If you're following along with me or doing it on your own, we're going to go to step 2 on the web page, which is go to lesson. And that opens up a new web page. And if you've used Minecraft Education before, this should look very familiar. This is what most of their lesson pages look like. There's a description, who it goes along with, and some pieces about what it is you're going to be doing. And as you can go through all this, you can look through some teacher notes. There's some great pieces in here that you can go through and helps just make you feel better prepared. I want to focus on the supporting files. You see that on the right side of the screen, supporting files. There is an educator guide, your classroom presentation slides, a solution guide. This is important if you don't feel comfortable, especially with doing the coding yourself, and then a fun certificate. So if all of your students have gone through it, the game gives them a chance to download a certificate. But if you wanted to go through and make those certificates ahead of time and get kids' names on them, you could download that from here as well. And then some other pieces that we're not going to go through today, but just how to facilitate and whatnot. So let's look at the educator guide. And thanks for everybody kind of working together in the chat and answering questions and finding different things. I appreciate all your community support there. So the educator guide is this PDF that kind of helps you get started. Again, all of the important links to get going, things to download, pieces that I've already mentioned, and we're linked on that first web page as well. From here, it gives you kind of what you're going to be doing and kind of sets up what you could be doing in class and gives you those key words. So if you wanted to work on some vocabulary before you got into the lesson, this is a great place to pull that from. And it's also in the PowerPoint deck. So these are the pieces that we're going to be talking about, excuse me, and working through. We're not going to go through all of the educator guide right now, but I would highly encourage you to kind of skim through some of this and see, just like we saw in the PowerPoint before, gives you those screenshots, kind of tells you what to look for, right? This is that sequence we saw a moment ago in the PowerPoint slide, what they're going to be doing, how they can be accessing it. The screenshots do a really good job. You can see on the right-hand side of the picture here that it shows what the touch controls look like if they're using an iPad or a touch device versus the keyboard controls on the left. So that's really helpful and clear on what the difference is. And so you can see that through the entire guide. So that's a great piece to go through and have handy for yourself and make sure you're comfortable with, and then you'll have that to reference as students ask you questions. Okay. All right, so let's now, oh, and then I did want to point out too, the solutions guide quickly. So this is it's a separate PDF from the educator guide. And this shows you what you're supposed to have as a finished product, right? So the first task is they build a bridge. Well, this is where it should go. The second task is they're supposed to code in the lunchroom. Well, if you weren't sure what the correct code should look like, you have an example here, both in blocks, or if you have advanced students doing it in Python, and so on and so forth. So you have that throughout, which is fantastic. And then there's the classroom presentation. Awesome. And the fun little video if you wanted to play that with your class too. Cool. So I am going to jump into the world itself. So I have gone through the movement tutorial. I have said, yes, I want to play with a keyboard and mouse. I've gone through the movement tutorial and I'm ready to play. So I just want to show you quickly what that looks like, and then I'll get to any other questions that are in the chat. So I'm going to go back to resume game. And here I am in my bedroom, actually, is what this is supposed to be, with my fun little aquarium. I never had that big of an aquarium in my bedroom. And then you interact. Anytime you see this symbol on your screen or it looks like a little hand pushing something, that gives you that visual signal, your students a visual signal that there's something to interact with. So I'm going to right click, or on a touch screen, I can go up, I can just tap the screen and it gives me something to do. So back to Jennifer's question in the chat earlier, can students interact with Immersive Reader? And yes, they can. So anytime there's a dialog box like this, you're going to see this little book and speaker symbol right here in the corner. And when I click on that, it loads what's called Immersive Reader. And if you're not familiar, Immersive Reader is available in lots of places, specifically places like Microsoft Word, Microsoft OneNote, but then also in lots of other tools. And I can change the font, and I can do all kinds of amazing things like reading coach in here. But specifically for our purposes, I just want to point out that you can actually have students have it read to students.
Hello. Is that you? You look different. Smaller, maybe?
Right. And so it goes through this whole dialogue of our little chat agent and what he needs to do. And so we're going through this. I'm not going to take the time to read through it, but you can play it on your own. And basically, this little guy has time traveled to come get you to help the artificial intelligence because it didn't learn all the things it needed to learn about responsible artificial intelligence. So he zips you through time, and it's this fun little sequence where you get to go in. And again, I'm not going to read all the text right now. You can come back and look at this, and it's also in the Educator guide. And he says, like, you're the one who programmed me, but some things were missing. There's some problems with the AI. So we need to go help the AI. So the AI you created is missing the principles of responsible AI. We found that AI needs these guidelines to help it work well, to make sure that it's used the right way. And then there's some more text that you can read through, and I would encourage you to think through those with your students. And then he says, your first task is to get to your first little AI creature over here. And this is the first task, to build a bridge. And come over here and help this guy with what he's supposed to be doing. So this one is focused on fairness and inclusiveness. So I don't understand fairness and inclusiveness. I was never taught these concepts. Let's travel back to my humble beginnings and see what happened. And so this is what happens with all 5 of the little characters that you work with, is they go through time to a period where you, they're saying, in this fun little narrative, created them. And there was something missing to be a responsible AI. And so this is the first example. And so it gives you a nice little dialogue about you created this to be a part and help your cafeteria, right? Which is fun. But there's something missing. So you're watching, okay, this student gets their food, great, it sees them, and it gives them the lunch. And then the next one, it sees them, great, and it gives them their lunch. So it's identify the students, and then it gets to the next student, and uh-oh, there's a problem. And the reason being, it can't see the student because he's in a wheelchair. So what happened? We need to fix this issue. This isn't fair and inclusive of all students. So this is where it gives us our choice. Are we going to work in blocks, or are we going to work in Python? And if your students or yourself have never worked in text-based coding, I would recommend starting with blocks. It's still fun, and there's a lot you can do with it, which is great. So that's what I'm going to choose. And you can see, here's my little characters. They're getting ready to go through. Here's my little chat bot in front of me, and it gives me instructions to push C for code. And again, if your students are using touch devices, if you look in the Educator guide, instead of pressing C for code, at the top center of the screen, there'll be a little character, there's a little agent character that you would tap on, and that will open up that same window. So it's the same experience, it's just a slightly different key. So all of these have a little tutorial and support at the top of the screen, and they're able to kind of tell you a little bit about what you're supposed to do. And there's a hint if students get stuck or they're not sure what to do. And then they're going to tell you, hey, here's what you need to do. And you need to change the scan. And then you can push play and see if it works as it processes the code. And so this is the same process it goes through for all of the tutorials. Some of them take a little bit more adjusting than others, right? It gets a little bit more complicated as you go through. And what I would highly recommend is giving students time to play, to fail, and to try it again, right? This one was fairly simple. I just had to tell it to change that one little piece of code, and yay, now all the kiddos are included and our code worked, right? And so it's going to go to the last little code, or the last little kiddo, and show that our code worked all the way through and it was able to adjust. Yay. And then we go back to the beginning. So this is an example. This is just the first one. It's the simplest example. And students progress through, and there's a little bit more they have to do in each one. I highly recommend that they go all the way through and look at all of them. So I'm going to pull this up. Here you go. To the remaining activities, they play all the way through. And then the last one is actually more of an open world environment where they get to explore and try different things and test it out. There's some really kind of a fun conclusion that goes with that. So it's a really fun way for students to work through just understanding coding, right? Great computer science with iteration, trying things again, figuring it out, maybe have them partner up if you have kiddos in your class and maybe have more experience in Minecraft or CS, have them partner up. But it also helps them go through and learn some of these bigger words, depending on the age group you're working with, of different AI concepts that they maybe have not done before. There are some great tips in here about using Immersive Reader. Have students run the code first. When you get to each little section, have them run the code, see what the issue is, then have them start playing with the code and debugging, right? That's that term, to find out what it is that they need to do. And you can always go to My Worlds in Minecraft Education and delete one if they just need to start from scratch, right? They've done it a few times, it's not working, and they need to start from scratch. So those are I thought some helpful tips that the Minecraft team shared. And these are all things to kind of help you get started. Now, this was just a quick snippet to kind of show you where things are, the beginning of what it could be, what the world itself looks like, and kind of how you're going to navigate through it. I would love to answer any questions. Is there anything that you're curious about? Thank you for those of you that were already talking about how you get the downloads, who has access to the licenses. So thank you for answering those questions. You can, of course, like I said at the beginning, you can just download it and use the trial, and you can do that for free. You don't have to have a license to play this world, which is awesome, but you do have to have the game downloaded on each student device. That has to happen, whether that's through an IT person at your school or if you can do it yourself. It does have to be on each individual device. Yes, it is not web-based. Thanks for answering those questions. Any other questions or ideas or excitement? How does this compare? If you've done the Hour of Code lessons in the past, how does this one look compared to some of the others you've tried? I think this one this year is a little bit simpler than last year's. If you did the Mystery Mansion, that one had a lot of paths you could choose from, which was really fun. But for some kids, it was too many paths, right? And they needed this. So this one's very directed, step by step. I hope this was helpful to kind of give you some ideas, to kind of help you know where to get started. Like, where do I even look for everything? How do I find all the resources and things to get going? This was just meant to give you a taste, kind of get you excited. So I hope we were able to do that. I will say too, those of you that said in the poll at the beginning that you were new and hadn't done a Minecraft education lesson before, this is a very scripted Minecraft lesson that is very step by step. Students aren't really off doing a lot of exploring as they go through the lesson. And that is not how a lot of Minecraft lessons are. A lot of Minecraft lessons, actually my favorite way to start with Minecraft education is actually to give them more of an open world environment and give them either something to model or a problem to solve or a story to come up with on their own. And that can be very open, free play, which can be really fun. This is great for just getting them to understand some basics and to learn a few things, right? To experience some code and to learn some ideas, but it is not how all Minecraft lessons can be. The other thing, if there's not any other questions, I would point out on the Minecraft Education website is when you are done with Minecraft this year's Hour of Code, you can go down and see the entire curriculum. So the computer science curriculum through Minecraft Education actually has a crazy amount of lessons. It's amazing how many lessons all the way from block to Java through Python. You could do an entire semester if you were a STEM teacher or had a curriculum you were looking for to teach computer science and coding. There are full curriculums in here. And you could reach out if you have questions. There's also now the cyber fundamentals, and they're doing some AI courses and different things as well, which is really fun. This is actually a really fun world as well, the AI for Earth. So if you're looking for other ideas, whether it's computer science related or not, reach out. Let me know how I can answer questions and can help kind of guide you along. There's a really great group as well, I would point out, on Facebook. If you're at all involved in Facebook, you can look for the Minecraft, oh my goodness, I just went blank, the Minecraft Teachers Lounge. There we go. The Minecraft Teachers Lounge is a private group on Facebook you can ask to join. You just have to answer some basic questions to make sure you're an educator. We don't necessarily need kiddos in there. And it is a great place where teachers are sharing all the time. They're asking questions and getting ideas and looking at new ways that they can use Minecraft in their classroom. That's a great resource. I would recommend you joining in. And yeah, otherwise, stay in touch. Let me know how you end up using this world or are able to start using Minecraft in your classroom. Love hearing people's ideas and looking for ways that we can encourage and support those of you. So again, thanks for joining. I know tonight was a quick snippet of the possibilities, but hopefully it helped you kind of get going. So thanks for joining, everybody. Have a wonderful and safe evening and a great weekend ahead. Thanks and take care.